Yes. Okay. Shreyas, last time when we had a lesson, did I give you some problems to work on? Do you remember?
Yes, sir.
But remember, I gave you some problems. You sent me what you did. I mean, did I give you another problems?
No, sir. You gave me the problems that I sent to you.
Oh, so that's when I said we'll do corrections, nay.
Yes, sir.
Uh, okay, let me quickly try to check if I still have those problems. You know, it's load shedding on my side, but I'm trying to work on something. Shreyas, I think possibly next weekend on our lesson, I'm sure I'll be conducting my lessons on my iPad because there, with or without load shedding, I'm able to operate. And I think right after this lesson, I'm just going to try something serious. But for now, let me try to check. Did you use your dad's phone to send the answers? I think you did. Let me try and check. Which whose phone did you use, Shreyas, to send? Maybe. Let me check.
This phone,
On
sir,
this phone.
that I'm using now.
Yeah, no, okay, no, you're right. I'm just trying to check. Okay, there, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I gave you 4 problems to work on. Name. So let's check. This is the problem that I gave you. It was 2x minus 4. This is equals to 0. And the other one was y minus 4. It's equals to 2y. The other one was 1 over 2 p minus 3p. It's equals to 15. And then we had negative k there. It's equals to k plus 4. Okay, so curious. The reason why I'm giving you these problems is because if you are not yet confident in solving all this type of problems, everything that we're doing in the group, it won't make any sense. It won't help you in any way when you get to your grade 11 and 12. And I want to emphasize, Rias, to say you might be getting the highest marks as your assignments, homeworks, classwork, or whatever. But if you are not able to confidently solve the basics, you won't understand when you get to grade 11 and 12. So solve for X, it's actually the foundation of mathematics. And once you are confident with this type of problems, you will not only notice an improvement in your marks for mathematics, also for physical sciences, especially physics, where you'll be doing some calculations, you will have a better understanding of how to interpret the given problems and also how to answer the questions. So I will never stop Shreyas. Even if you get to when you get to 60 Shreyas, I'm still going to be teaching you these things until you know them, even after you're done with matrix. I'm telling you, because if, for example, I'll use myself as an example. I didn't know all of this when I was in grade 10. I only realized when I got to grade 12 that I just needed to understand this type of problems in order to solve math problems. So I will just keep on saying the same thing until it makes perfect sense. Because sometimes it's not only about the tutor saying something and then same time you understand what it means. With me saying the same thing over and over again, that's how you learn some of the things. I'm going to explain this one to you as to say every term has got a sign followed by the coefficient. So let me just do a box there for the sign and then followed by the coefficient. But instead of me saying coefficient, no, let me just use the word coefficient. I'll just explain what it means coefficient. And then from there, it's followed by variable. And then from there, it's followed by a power or exponent. Power or exponent. So, curious, if you are given something, let's say 2y, do you want to guess what is the sign for this term? Curious, are you still there, or did you run away? Are you still there?
Yes, sir. Can you repeat the
Okay.
question?
So, do you want to guess what is the sign for this?
Sir, can you repeat the question?
So, what is the sign for this term? The sign. Remember,
Sir, it's
Shreyas,
cutting off, sir.
is it cutting?
Yes, sir.
Okay, because there is network on my, there's a load shedding on my side. But in case if you don't know, just say no idea. But the question is, what is the sign for this term? Do you want to guess?
No, sir.
Okay, so maybe next time when I ask what is the sign, so it's either you choose from positive or minus. Nay. So every time when I say what is the sign of this term, think about a positive and a minus, then you choose between these two. Do you still want to guess?
So it's positive,
How do you see it's a positive?
since there's no negative sign in front of the
100%, because
number.
there is no negative sign, it's invisible positive. So I want you to notice that in each and every given term, you have a sign. After a sign, it's a coefficient. So the other word for coefficient is simply to say a number. You know, a number, it could be 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever number. So a that is a coefficient. So can you see we have a sign there? The sign there is positive, as you said. You explained it 100%. So what is the coefficient there, Shuyas? The coefficient is 2. What is the variable? So the variable, it's actually a letter in other words. So variable is a letter in other ways. So in terms of letters, we have A all the way up to Z curious. So what is the letter there? It's letter Y. This is the variable. And what is the power there? The power, it's invisible 1. So if we are given, let's say, negative P to the exponent negative 3 curious, let's try to interpret this thing using that. So what is the sign? I'm going to say the sign is negative. What is the coefficient? The coefficient is invisible
Sir,
1. You know it's there.
I can't see, sir.
You can't see, it could be. I think the network is poor on my side, Shreyas. But let me try something. You will let me know. Let me try again. How is it now?
It's fine now, sir.
Okay. So okay, let me try to quickly re-explain this. So I was saying, if you are given, let me remove all of that. So I was saying, Shreyas, if you are given negative p to the exponent 3, let's see. So let's use this to interpret that. So the sign is what is negative, as it can be seen there. What is the coefficient? The coefficient is the number. So can you see we have invisible 1 over there. So that is the coefficient of this term. And what is the variable? The variable is a letter. In this case is letter P. What is the power? The power is 3. So now you tell me, Shreyas, if you are given 3 s for Shreyas to the exponent 4, can you interpret this term following that?
So the sign is positive.
Mm-hmm.
The coefficient is 3.
Mm-hmm.
The variable is s, and the power is 4.
Mm-hmm. 100%. So that's what you need to do in order to interpret a given term. I'm going to give you another one just now. So let's say you are given D. Interpret that one. Shreyas, are you still there?
Yes, sir.
So do you want to try this one or should I explain it?
So you can explain it.
Okay. So what is the sign? I will help you to get it correct. What is the sign?
So the sign is a positive.
Okay, the sign is a positive. What is the coefficient?
The coefficient is invisible 1.
Invisible one. What is the variable?
It's d, and the
Is
power
D.
is there's no power.
So the power is there, Shreyas.
So can you please repeat?
So the power is there, but it's invisible. What is it?
Negative or positive, invisible 1.
Yes. So the power is always there, just like the coefficient there. So it's always invisible one if it's not written. So can you now notice that, Shreyas, you do know the answer? It's only that you did not have the confidence to give it a try. So that means interpret this one for me, Shreyas.
So the sign is negative. The coefficient is 1, invisible 1. The variable is x, and the power is invisible 1.
Invisible. What did you say about the sign?
So, so the sign is negative.
Okay, 100%. 100%. Now, I'm happy, Shreyas. I'm going to give you the very last one, and I won't explain this one to you. Try to explain this using that.
So the sign is positive. The coefficient is 4.
Mm-hmm,
There's no variable, sir, and the power
mm-hmm.
is invisible 1.
Shreyas, clap your hands for yourself. Clap your hands for yourself. Uh, Not only because you got it correct, but because of the confidence to give it a try. And one thing for sure, you got it correct. That's how you have to explain it. So, do you think after 10 years, 3 years, if I ask you to interpret 3, are you going to interpret it the same way?
Yes, sir.
Are you sure? I don't trust you, 3 years. Um, I'm going to ask you this question one day without you having this thing. Do you think you'll remember this thing, 3 years, the order of this thing?
Sir, can you repeat?
So if I hide, okay, let me do this. Let me do this. No, but I know you wrote it somewhere. Okay, 3 years. Explain to me this one. Quickly, 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 quickly. Don't copy. Just interpret this one quickly.
So the sign is negative.
Mm-hmm,
The coefficient is invisible 1.
mm-hmm,
The variable is y, and the
mm-hmm.
power is negative 1.
Ah, then it means you are there, Shreyas. Then it means you are there. The the first thing that you need to do, Shreyas, is to prioritize on being able to interpret the given term. So let's see. Uh, the first problem that I gave to you, Shreyas, is 2x minus 4, it's equals to 0. On the left side, how many terms do we have there?
We have two terms
How do you see is two terms?
because of the negative sign that's separating them.
Yes, so that means a term is separated by a sign of a plus or a minus. There, I agree with you, Shreya. So on the right, we only have one term, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
So that means this thing, Shreyas, is a term on its own. This thing is a term on its own. Interpret this term for me.
So it's the sign is positive, sir.
Hmm?
The coefficient is 2,
Hmm?
the variable is x, and the power is invisible 1.
Interpret this one.
The sign is negative, the coefficient is 4, there's no variable, and the power is invisible 1.
100%. So now that you are able to interpret the given term, Shreyas, now I'm going to teach you the next thing. In case if you're writing, you can write it down. But remember, I'm having this lesson recorded for you. So let's see. Always, 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 Shreyas, when you're solving a given problem, remember that you have an equation, and again you have an expression. So, do you still remember how you notice an equation?
So you notice an equation because of the equal sign, and since you have to solve
Is
for the unknown.
the unknown, 100%. So, in that case, it means we are given an equation. So, if we are given an equation, ask yourself this question: is it a linear equation or is it a quadratic equation? Do you want to guess the difference between the two? Quadratic equation.
So I think it's a linear equation.
Why?
So
Why? Okay, so I'll explain that to you, Shreya. So that means, for example, you see the first one, you say it's linear because the variable is to the power 1. But if it was to the power 2, then it's a quadratic. So that means for this one, we have power of invisible 1. And then this one is power of 2. So that means if here the variable is y, so you have y there, you have y there. So can you see both of these y's, they are to the power of 1. But if maybe this one was to the power 2, then it makes it a quadratic already. So can you see all of these are linear equations because the unknown is to the power 1. Does it make sense now?
yes, sir.
Okay. So if you are given, let's say x plus 2 is equals to, let's say y, is it a linear or a quadratic equation, and why?
So it's linear since the unknown is to the power of 1.
100%, 100%. So now that you are aware of how to differentiate between the two and how to notice the two, so if it's um, a linear series, it means you have one answer. Can you see? Because it's to the power 1, it means you have one answer. But if it's to the power 2, it means you have 2 answers. Does it make sense, that part?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So if it's a linear equation, you obviously solve. But if it's a quadratic power, so this is where you need to rewrite it in the standard form. After standard form, you need to factorize. So before you can worry that much about quadratic trias, you must firstly be able to work out the linear part, which is something that I need to train you on. So the reason why, Shreyas, I'm saying I need you to be confident with this, I'll just explain it um, using an example. It's more like you are a newborn, Shreyas. You are a newborn, and um, most of the things that you are doing, it's me trying to teach you on how to run or how to walk before we've gone through that step of you crawling. Does it make sense what I'm trying to explain, Trias?
Yes, sir.
So, even if I teach you how to walk or how to run, for the fact that you did not um, learn how to crawl, in case if something happens, let's say for some reason they say we are on a training and we try maybe to run in reverse, it's more like you can do everything, but your moves are not balanced because you skipped a very important step, which is the starting point. So that is why I'm saying, with whatever homework, whatever that you were given and you got total 3 years, on my side, I'm not yet happy until you are able to solve all of this. And for you to solve all of this, it's not only when we do these lessons and then it ends there. You need to redo them over and over and over again. That is why I'm also not quick to move to the next thing, because I know, Shreyas, in maths, um, you need to be able to be confident on the basics. So it's more like, even if you are able to, let's say, you are not able to walk, but that doesn't mean you cannot get to where you want to be or where you want to go. So you can't walk, but you can easily get a transport or request Uber to take you somewhere. But it's better for you to be able to walk, so that if the Uber is not working, you can be able to walk. I think there's load shedding on my side, Trias. In case if that happens, I'll just get my backup lane. So just bear with me for a second in case if the power goes off. That's all saying, I'm thinking on my next lesson, I should be conducting these lessons on my iPad. But what I'm trying to explain, Trias, I'm not sure if you are getting me on that part.
I am, sir.
So, one thing for sure, I will always tell you this, to say one thing for sure. Um, in my case, I never had someone like myself to explain these things to me. That's what I'm saying. Uh, Although I'm not confident now, but one thing for sure, in matric, um, in your grade 11, towards the end of the year or after June, I'm pretty much sure that you will be known or noticed that you are good in mathematics and you've gathered enough information. And the reason to that is only if you are able to understand all that I'm explaining and redo it over and over again. So ask your dad this thing, Shreyas, to say, is it true that when you do something over and over again, especially when you do almost the same thing over and over again, during the first days, you will be thinking deep about what you're trying to do. You will be slow because you're trying to be careful. You don't want to make mistakes. But after some time, you will be doing those complicated things without even you having to think about them or worry, because you'll be knowing all the mistakes associated with whatever that you'll be doing. And again, you will notice when you are making a mistake because you know exactly what you are supposed to get as a final product. So just make sure that you ask that question. As soon as they give a response to that, that means for you to know or understand something, you have to do it over and over and over again. You don't do it once, you do it many times um, over a period of time. You don't just do it in 1 hour and say, I've done it many times. No, do it, do something else after some time, go back to it. Even if it's exactly the same thing, it's fine. You will get to a stage where you are able to just do it without even thinking, or you will notice that you do it quicker. So that is why I'm trying to encourage you, Shreyas, to say, don't worry that much about you having to repeat this thing over and over again. There will be a time where it's going to make sense, and you will confirm to me that it's only now when it's making sense in terms of why we've been doing that one thing over and over again. So now, Shreyas, I'm not going to remove all of that. We will be referring to that. So I'm just going to clean another board where I need to explain something very much important to you. And the other thing, Shreyas, remember in those lessons, especially lessons conducted by Mr. Sibando or myself, most of the learners there, they are in grade 11 and 12. I know it's just a few guys. I think you're 5 or somewhere there who are in grade 10. So don't worry that much about all of those when they are on another level. So they've gone through all of these steps that we are going through. So one thing for sure, there will be someone next year who will also be in the same position as you. But one thing for sure, we will cook them, and they'll be on the same page as everyone else. But consider yourself being lucky because you are being exposed to what you should be expecting sometime next year. So let's see. The first, let me just quickly try to check something. Okay, it's fine. The first problem that you're given is 2x minus 4 is equals to 0. So do you remember that song that I was singing in class 3 years where I was saying Chabalala one side, Paloi one side, Malaka one side, whatever. Do you still remember this song?
Yes, sir.
Okay, what's your surname, 3 years?
Sir,
What's your surname?
Ragubir.
Okay, mine is Seko. So the song simply says Rakubiri, one side, Seko, one side. Um, let me see. Aveshri. Aveshri, I know it's a name. Okay, Aveshri one side, Pia one side, Mahomet one side, who else? Siraj, one side. So that's what the song says. It's more like we group everything to the one side. So we apply that song on mathematical problems. So can you see in this case, what are we having 3 years? We don't have too many say names there. We just have letters and numbers. So we take all the letters to the one side. We take all the
So
numbers
the board
to the
is
one side.
blurred, sir.
The body, is it blurry?
Yes, sir.
Let me try something. But did you hear when I was speaking? Did you hear me?
Yes, sir.
So how is it now? Better, ne?
Fine now, sir.
100%. So uh, what type of letters do we have there, Shreyas?
Sir,
The letters. What letters are you seeing there?
letter X.
So that means this is what we'll be dealing with. So what type of a problem is that?
So it's an equation, sir, and a linear equation.
Yes. Can you explain why are you saying that?
Sir, because the letters are All the numbers are all to the power of 1.
So in terms of you knowing that it's a linear equation, you can just say it's because the letter is to the power 1, ne? Because numbers won't be to the power something, it will just be 4, ne?
Yes, sir.
100%. So now let's try to generalize that song, Shreya. So we are saying let us one side, which is to the left. Then numbers one side, which is being to the right. So let's see. Because you're saying we've got two terms on the left, how many numbers do we have on the left that we can move to one side?
So we can move the -4 to the other side, which will make it +4.
On the left, what am I having?
So you're having 2x equals to 0 plus 4.
Which is just 4, ne?
Yes, sir.
100%. So how many terms do you have on the left and how many terms do you have on the right?
So we have one term on the left and one term on the right.
100%. So because we are solving for the unknown, that means we need to do what? We need to remove that 2, isn't it? How do we remove
Yes,
it?
sir. So we have to divide by 2.
Okay, so we divide by 2 on both sides, it cancels, then we have x being equals to 2. Then you are done. Can you see?
Yes, sir.
Now, let's try the second problem. So, the second problem that I gave to you, Shreyas, it was y minus 4, it's equals to 2y. Same explanation. Give me the same explanation in terms of what type of a problem are we dealing with there?
So it's a linear equation
Mm-hmm.
because of the letters are equal to the letters are all to the power of 1.
Mm-hmm.
We have to solve for the unknown, which is y.
100%. Exactly what you said, Shuyas, is exactly what I expected. So now I'm happy with you being able to interpret the problem that we're dealing with. So once you have said that, Shuyas, because it's a linear equation, then we apply that song. What is that song telling us, Shuyas?
So can you repeat?
So that song, what is it telling us in short?
So it tells us that we have to have letters on the left and numbers on the right.
100%. Which letters are you having and where are they and how can you rearrange them such that you apply the song?
So we can have uh, y on the left side, which will be y equals to 2y plus 4.
Wait, you're saying which is going to be y is equals to 2y plus. Okay, all right, no. I'm with you there. Okay, continue.
So then y will equal to 6y,
Mm-hmm.
which then you have to take both sides, divide it by 6, which the
Okay,
6 cancels out, then it will be y equals to 6.
okay. So, Shreyas, now I see you are not correctly applying the song. So, the song is saying all the letters to one side. What is this letter doing on the right side, Shreyas? What is it doing there? Because you're saying you want to have all the letters on the left side of the equal sign and only have all the numbers on the right side. So that means you had to move the number to the right. You are right. And it ends up being this. But now you must move this letter to the left side. So that's how you apply the song. So that means you must have y, which is that y. Then you minus 2y. It's equals to 4. So can you see? Now you have all the letters on the left and only numbers on the right. So this is why, these are the like terms. So you have invisible 1 minus 2y. So what is 1 minus 2? It's equals to
So it will
negative
be
1y, which is equals to 4. So how do you get y trees from there?
so can you repeat?
So how do we get y?
So you can divide by -1.
100%. You divide by -1, and then you have y is equals to -4. But do you now understand how this song works, Shreyas?
Yes, sir.
So always think about this song, Shreyas. I am singing the song. It sounds funny, but it's very, very useful in a sense that it helps you to interpret exactly what you're doing. So try to solve it again, explaining to me what to write and why am I writing what I'm writing, Shreyas.
Yes, sir.
Go for it.
So can you repeat?
No, I was saying you can go for it. Explain to me. Okay, no, it's fine. Because we have done it, let me give you this other one. Um let's say negative k, it's equals to k plus 4. So do this one, Shreyas, doing exactly what I did. Solve this one. Tell me what to write.
So we can have negative k minus k equals to 4,
Mm-hmm.
which then we'll have which will have negative k equals to 4,
Mm-hmm.
which then we divide both sides by -1,
Or -1, -1. Mm-hmm.
which then will give us k equals to -4.
Okay. So how did you get this negative k, Shreyas?
So I said that negative k minus negative k.
Did you punch it on a calculator? I can see you're trying to punch it and you can't see a k there, Shreyas. But it's fine. Let me explain to you, Shreyas. So that means what is the coefficient of k there?
Invisible one.
And then there,
Invisible one
okay. And the signs,
is k.
not the sign.
No, so the sign is negative.
Okay. So that means on your calculator, you punch -1 minus 1. Punch it on a calculator.
So it gives me -2.
So that is -2k. Can you see?
Yes, sir.
So if you have, let's say, negative 3p plus p, how do you punch this one? You have -3 there and you have +1 there. So you punch -3 plus invisible 1 on your calculator. Whatever that you get is the number p. Does it make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let me train you using this one. Let's say we have negative, what is it? Negative y plus 7y. What is this one?
So it'll be the invisible one in front of the y, which will make it
Mm-hmm.
negative 1 plus 7, which is
Mm-hmm.
positive 6.
So it's positive 6y because you are dealing with common factors of letter y, not just 6. Nay. Because if you say 6,
Yes,
it's more like it's a number. But in this case, you're dealing with um what is it? You're dealing with the letters. Shreyas, you are almost there. I'm telling you, you are almost there. If you can make sure that as soon as you are done, you redo these things, you won't forget because the procedure that we're following, it's now closer to making sense. So try to quickly solve that one. So you know it's a linear equation because the unknown being k is to the power of invisible 1. So that means you're going to have one answer, which is k is equals to whatever. But now, uh, apply the song and then solve to get to the final answer.
so we'll have negative k on
Mm-hmm,
the left side
mm-hmm,
minus k
mm-hmm,
on the left side, and then on the right side it'll be equal to 4,
mm-hmm,
which then so it'll be equal to negative 2k,
mm-hmm,
which will be equal to 4. Then you
mm-hmm,
divide both sides by negative 2,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
which then the negative 2 cancels out with each other. You'll be left
mm-hmm.
with k equals to negative 2.
Shreyas, exactly what you said, it's exactly what I expected. I'm telling you, Shreyas, make sure to redo all of this. I'm still going to give you some more problems until I'm 100% happy. Because in mathematics, Shreyas, you can still be able to interpret the problem. You can still be able to understand when the tutor explains how you solve the problem. But if you don't know how to solve the problems, if you are given a similar problem, you won't be able to answer that particular problem. I'm just going to give you this one now. But before I even do that, let's do this one, which was part of your, what is it? It was part of your homework. So, Shreyas, explain to me what type of a problem are we dealing with over there?
So it's a linear equation,
Why?
and we have to solve for the unknown, which is p,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a linear equation because of the equal sign.
Repeat that, Shreyas.
So it's a linear equation
Mm-hmm.
since all the letters are equal to have the power of 1,
Mm-hmm.
and it's also an equation because of the equal sign, and which you have to
Yes.
solve for the unknown
Which is?
p.
Mm-hmm. What is the song saying?
So letters on the left and numbers on the right.
Okay. Now let's work it out. So can you see, Shreyas, what is the what how many terms are you having on the left?
2, sir.
Okay, you have one, two terms, one on the right. So a on the left where you have letters, do you have common factors?
Yes, sir. We have p.
Yeah. So on term one we have P, on term two we have P. So that means we can work out these terms. So what is the coefficient of the first term?
So the coefficient of
The first term.
half.
For the second term,
Uh, 3, sir.
okay, 100%. And the signs of the first and the second,
So the first is positive, the second is negative.
100%. So now, how do you punch it on a calculator because you're having the like terms?
So we can say 1 over 2
Mm-hmm.
minus 3,
What are
which
you
gives
getting?
us negative 5 over 2.
Then how do I
P.
write it there?
So you can say negative 5 over 2 P
Negative 5 over 2p
equals to 15.
equals to 15.
Then you divide both sides by negative 5 over 2.
Shreyas, you are getting there. I am telling you, you are getting there. What are we getting?
And then the negative 5 over 2 cancel on each other.
hmm
So the P is equal to negative 6.
So let me just confirm this one also on my side. So you're saying 15 over negative over 5 over 2. What did you say?
Negative 6.
Shreyas, can you see how easy it was? It's only that you did not understand the interpretation of the problem, and again, you did not have a way of approaching these problems. But can you see that with you attending the lessons almost every day, it helps because you remember this song, and you remember on Thursday's lesson, I did explain in terms of what is a term, what does a term have in terms of the sign, coefficient, variable, whatever. Can you see how easy these things are, Shreyas? Do they now start to make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let me give you another one to practice. So let's say we have, okay, let me say negative 2h. It's equals to, let's say, h minus 8. Uh, Interpret this one, Shreyas, and take me to the final answer.
So it will be negative 2H
No,
minus.
before we even get to that, what type
Oh,
of a problem are
so
we dealing with?
the linear equation, since
Mm-hmm,
the letters are to the power of 1, and
mm-hmm,
we have to solve for the unknown, which is H,
mm-hmm.
and since it also has a equal sign.
Yes, 100%. Then,
Yes, sir.
yes, no, you got it 100%, Shreyas. Then let's continue now.
So, sir, we have to say negative 2H
Mm-hmm,
minus H,
mm-hmm.
which will be equal to negative 8.
Okay, why are you doing all of this?
Sir,
Why are you doing all of this? How do you explain to a grade 9 what you are doing there?
so we're having letters on the left and numbers on the right.
Yes. Yes. Okay, continue.
So, sir, since there's an invisible one in front of the H,
Mm-hmm.
so it will be negative 2 minus
Mm-hmm.
1, which gives me negative 3H, which equals to
Mm-hmm.
negative 8.
Mm-hmm.
Then so you divide both sides by negative 3.
Mm-hmm.
The negative 3 cancel out.
Mm-hmm.
Then negative 8 over negative 3 is H equals to 8 over 3.
100%. Now I'm 100% happy, Shreyas. I'm going to then give you some more problems for you to work on. Make sure to follow the same procedure. And in case if you get stuck, watch this lesson again. So let me say number one. So everything you did there, Shreyas, it was 100% correct. So I'm just going to give you some fractions there to say negative that p minus 8, let's say plus 2p, it's equals to 0. Let's see number 2. I'm going to give you 0 on the side and say negative y minus, what is it, minus 4. That one I'll leave it there and give you. Same time, Shreyas, try to have a look at those in terms of how you'd approach them. You're going to explain to me what you're going to do there and also what you're seeing there. So the other one, let's say for what letter? Okay, let me use k. 4 over 7 plus k is equals to okay negative 3. Okay, then also let me give you the last one where I say a b c d e f. Okay, let's say f plus 17 is equals to negative 2 over 5 f minus plus that 0, that 0. Okay, I'm going to say 17 there. Okay, Shreyas, what are you seeing there? Wait, before I even do, are you able to interpret this thing, Shreyas? When something is given as 4k over, let's say 7, do you know how to interpret this thing?
Yes, sir.
How is it?
So it's simple, sir. You just say 4 over 7.
Are you sure, Shreyas? Why are you saying it's simple? Are you sure?
Yes, sir. Since they already gave us the coefficient.
Yes, 100%. So it's simple as you said. It's just 4 over 7. So I wanted to confuse you there when I wrote 4k over 7, but you know the coefficient is 4 over 7 and then the letter is k. 100%. Okay, Shreyas, I'm going to leave this one as your homework. You will work it out, and then from there, you will send it to me whenever you've done it, and then when we do it, you will be telling me what to write. So, Shreyas, this is the end of our lesson for today. I'm hoping next weekend, when we do the corrections, you will be explaining to me exactly what you got, and I'm hoping you're going to get it. Shreyas, I heard you wrote a test, and I know because they told me that it hammered you. How was it? Did you get hammered?
So can you repeat?
So they told me you were writing a test. I'm not sure. I forgot. I think it was last week, and they said you were crying.
No, sir.
How was it?
It was good, sir, but there was
Nye,
not
nye,
enough
nye,
time.
nye, 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 nye. Shreyas, you are lying. They said you were crying, man.
No, sir. I was just crying, sir, since there was not enough time. I only had one question left.
So you wanted to be given 5 hours, nay?
Yes, sir.
No, 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 no. Okay, so let me tell you something about time, Shreyas. So in grade, especially a test which is set by the department, you are not given time to think. You are given time to write. So they assume you've been thinking deep about the problems that you'll be given. So the time allocated is only for you to write. So it is calculated to say on estimation question one, it takes this long for you to write completely when writing at a normal pace. So you are not given time to think. So that means it is now the time for you to think. When you get to exam, you just look at the problem, you ask yourself a question to say, what type of a problem is this? Is it a linear, a quadratic, whatever? Because you know how to notice the type of a problem, then you know already you're dealing with a linear a problem. You know that you need to apply the song, then you are done. When you're given another problem, if it's a quadratic, you know you write it in the standard form. After writing it in the standard form, you factorize. Mr. Sibanda gave you the second method of how to factorize. You factorize, you write the final answers, you're done. When you get to the functions, you need to notice your Cartesian plane, the types of functions that you're given. Then you know a straight line, you know the formula. The parabola, you know the formula. Exponential, hyperbola, you know the formula. Then you read the questions and you start answering the question. So sequence and series, same apply. So that's why I'm saying, Shreyas, the time is now for you to think about how this type of problems are being solved, and again, how to answer the questions such that you score maximum marks. From there, you get to the final answer. So you just need to understand, Shreyas, that you're not given time to think, but just to interpret and then read the question and start writing. So make sure that when I say you practice something over and over again, you will notice your pace. When you do these problems, serious, it could be now or sometime during the week. When you do them, you might finish a bit quicker as compared to the last time when you're doing those problems, because you are now getting used to those. So that means the more you do them over and over again, if you want to notice if you're improving, that's when it takes you less time to get to where you want to be. But if you're still taking the same time, you take long, you struggle and everything, so that means you are not ready uh, for those questions. That's why you get a fail, or you fail, or you repeat a subject. It's because you are not ready. You are slow on questions. So you need to practice more and more and more until you are faster. Then, when you are faster, you'll be able to answer all the questions and score marks where you got the questions correct. Does it make sense, Shreyas?
Yes, sir.
So always just expect to be given a shorter time, and know that it's not for you to be thinking, but it's just for you to write um, the answers. And most importantly, they made it easy so that you don't complain by saying start with the questions that are easy, and only the ones that seem to be difficult you can do them as the last question. So the last question that you left out, was it a difficult question, or you're just following the format of the question paper from question one until the last question? What happened there?
So I did all the questions except for the last question. It was for geometry.
Okay, so is it analytical geometry? Are you saying analytical geometry?
Uh, so it wasn't analytical geometry.
Was it Euclidean geometry?
So,
What was it, Euclidean geometry, or you can't remember exactly what it was?
so I'm not sure, sir.
Okay, it's fine. Let's say whatever that it was. Did you not write it because it was difficult, or because it was the last question and you didn't have enough time?
So I didn't have time.
So was it the last question?
Yes,
I
it was
just
the
want.
last question.
Oh, so you were following the questions in terms of starting from question one, two, three, four until the last question.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So every time when you go to write a test set by your teacher, just ask ask them if it's possible to start with any questions. Like, for example, your first question, ask them if you can start with question 3 and do other questions, just so that you don't miss some marks on the last question because it was the last question. That's why every time before you start writing, they give you a chance to go through all the questions to check what questions you are having. If you are not given, then it means the first 1 minute of your time, you need to check what type of problems you are dealing with for question 1, 2, 3, up until the last one. But just check if it's possible for you to start with any question.
Yes, sir.
I wanted to say something, but I think I forgot. Okay. Shreyas, I was saying I'm not saying you shouldn't get, but I'm not happy when you're getting a 100%, but when you are not able to solve all of this. Can you tell me the reason why? Or can you guess why?
No, sir.
So I'm not happy because uh, the moment everyone in class gets total, the teacher thinks he has taught you enough and you fully understand. So, what he's going to do, he's going to move to the next chapter and not emphasize that one where you got 100%, because it's an assumption that you guys understand. So, I only realized this thing 3 years um, after I finished matric, that when you are given a homework assignment or whatever, if you give it to someone to help you with that assignment and you get total, they are actually killing you, because the teacher is going to assume you know all of this, you understand, you're good and everything, and you also get the pressure from other learners thinking that no, you are good with that particular chapter and whatever. So you are also not in a position to be asking questions in case if you don't understand something, because you have the pressure of everyone saying you are a gun, you know everything, you understand, you got 100%. So come exam, you get a 0 shares and everyone is surprised. You start being depressed. You start now reacting in different ways or in strange ways. It's because of that pressure that you'll be having, Shreya. So I get so much happy when you get 0 shares, a very big zero in your homeworks, assignments, and whatever, and you get 100% in exam. Not necessarily zero in your homework areas, but what I'm saying is when you write based on the knowledge that you accumulated from tutoring lessons, lessons in class, and you write your original mind there. When the teacher marks your paper, they will be able to assess exactly what you were thinking there. And then on their next lesson, they are going to improve their explanation, just like I'm doing now, Shreyas. I'm actually noticing that previously, when I taught you this type of problems, it's not because you did not understand or you find it difficult to understand. It was because I did not explain it better or I did not make it simple. I thought maybe some of the things were too simple, you could understand, but I'm only noticing it now that I've actually explained it better, and I could hear when you respond that you are now starting to be confident. But imagine, Trias, imagine if I gave you those problems and you gave them to someone else to help you with those problems. So what was going to happen is that I was going to say you got them 100%, and I was going to say you understood. I wasn't going to be doing this thing with you again. I would have moved to another chapter thinking that you understand, but we were still going to be having some problems with that other chapter because you wouldn't be able to solve these problems. So, do you now understand, Shreyas, the importance of not being ashamed of getting 50% with your homework um, and not striving for 100%? Does it make sense there?
Yes, sir.
So, in short, what I'm saying, Shreyas, is that when you are given whatever that you are given, make sure that you apply your raw knowledge and understanding. So even if a question is asked in class, Shreyas, never mind everyone and respond based on what you understand or based on what you know. It's not your fault when you get something wrong. It's better to say the teacher did not teach me this. That is why I don't understand it better. And again, if you don't know something, um, be happy and confident to say you've got no idea. It is true because you don't have an idea. So for those who will be knowing the answer, Shreyas, it's not like they were born knowing the answer. It's possibly because they taught it to them in a better way, or they've made it simple to them. That's why they know. But they don't understand that for someone not to know is because they did not tell them or they did not explain to them in the simplest way. So just make sure to never lose the confidence in class or in my tutoring lessons or in whoever's lessons. And also be happy to get everything wrong if you get it wrong, because the day you get to a stage where you need to do a presentation or whatever, you will have a good story to tell, Shreyas. You'll be telling someone, just like myself now. I'm confidently telling you that when I was in grade 10, I knew none of these things. But now I know them as if I'm lying when I say when I was in grade 10, I knew nothing. And trust me when I say when you get to grade 12, 11, and also when you get to varsity, you will be applying these basics and you will be very, very sharp. Only if you redo them over and over and over again. You won't struggle when you get to your medical school 3 years. You won't, even if they say it's too much or whatever, whatever, it's because they still need to redo all of this over and over again. But if you do them in high school, when you get to varsity, you won't be wasting much of your time trying to revise everything, wasting much of your time on redoing same thing over and over again. So the time is always enough. It's just that we are not aware of how much time we are given for what. So, Shreyas, I hope you've gathered something with what I've said over there. I will end today's lesson here and say make sure to work out all of this. Don't give it to someone else to help it. I mean, to help you, just apply your mind, do whatever that you can, apply the knowledge that you had. In case if you struggle, watch this lesson again. You can fast forward or do whatever to get to where you want to get the information and then solve all of this. So this one's serious. Every time or whatever that you get wrong, I'm going to tell you which one and you will redo it over and over and over again until you get everything 100%. Only after, when I'm confident and happy, then we move to the next thing. So with today's lesson, Trias, I am very much happy as compared to our previous lessons. And the reason to that is because I notice you are now gaining the confidence, and I think I've explained it better to give you the confidence. Shreyas, I'll see you on my next lesson. I hope you enjoyed today's lesson.
Yes, sir, I did.
Okay, cheers, cheers, Shreyas.
Thank you, sir.